So I'm here today with Don out at Main Stop. And Don, I don't know exactly I know you're in Ohio. I don't know which city. I've been there, but I don't recall the city. What city are you from, Don?
We're in Napoleon, Ohio.
Napoleon, Ohio. And for those of us that are from Pennsylvania or other places, what's the next big town that we'll recognize in Ohio to start?
Probably Toledo. We're just a few miles west of Toledo.
Oh, I didn't realize that. Okay, awesome. Thank you. Don, what we typically like to share, what we find that people in convenience management or leadership want is they want to know a couple of things. And so what I'd like to talk about first is, your career path. What were you doing before, or maybe you started in convenience. What were you doing early in your career and how'd you end up managing a nice store in Ohio?
Well, I started in retail grocery when I was 16 years old. I was just a bag boy, a stocker.
Hmm.
Worked in a family chain of stores. I was there quite a few years, and then about 2017, actually, my job was eliminated. So I was looking for something to do.
Hmm.
So I heard about the Main Stop group and I put an application in, and they'd actually had a grocery store at that point, and I started there.
Okay.
And then that was going to be sold. So then Jeff offered me, that's my general manager, offered me a job at the Napoleon Main Stop. So, and I said, I will do it. I might need to learn a few things, but here I am.
Awesome. So the grocery store job, that was not the manager of the store, that was a different job, and you've now transitioned to management?
Yeah, I was a grocery manager for a while and then an assistant store manager. But the company was just doing some downsizing, and so I left.
the, that family business in the grocery stores is getting harder and harder. There's still a few really great ones out there, but they have to be tight, don't they? That it's a margin business there, isn't it? Volume business, I mean.
Exactly.
Huh, awesome. So you did have some management experience and you did start with MainStop. What year was it that you moved over to convenience management?
It was actually just in late 2022.
Wow. So you're about just a little over 2 years into it.
Right. I'm still not a new kid, but I'm willing to learn. I had to be willing to change a little bit. Some of the management principles are the same, but a C store is actually easier. Less employees than a traditional grocery store, less headaches.
So you said a couple of things there, and now I got you easier, less headaches. Because I think of a C store as full of headaches, but because you've got the fuel and the hazardous waste and things like that that the grocery store doesn't have to deal with. But the number of people is the complexity. Or why don't I just ask you what's the difference? What are the main differences?
Yeah. Yeah, basically, there's just 10 of us here at this store, employees, and in the grocery store, there was about 30 employees. So you have a few more challenges there. You got more equipment that's running, you got to make sure your temperatures and all the cases are good. And here, we just have like a cooler and a beer cave. We don't have all that,
Hmm.
temperature sensitive items like in a grocery store. So it's simpler.
Okay. Food safety is the big thing in the grocery store. Is that what you're saying? That compared to, I mean, I know you have some food safety in yours as well, but there's more of that. Or did I get that wrong?
Yeah, there's more of it in a traditional grocery store because you got your large deli and your meat department and things like that. It's pretty critical for temperatures.
Got it. Got it. So you said you may have to learn some things. So you've been at it for 2 years now. Um, what did you what did you find was the biggest surprise, and how did you change with going from grocery to convenience?
Well, in this industry or in the C store, we sell a lot more alcohol than I did, so I kind of had to, have changed my mindset a little bit. Saying, hey, we need a bigger beer display, than what we did in the grocery store. Just some things like that. It's all about convenience. Maybe we have some small talk at the register, but we're not really gonna have a long, drawn out conversation because we are a convenience store. So we want that person to be able to get their items, feel welcome and be on their way.
Well, I think that would be the challenge for me. But I start talking and then I can't stop. So you got to be friendly but quick, but still genuine. I haven't thought about that. Any tricks for that? Any tips for the newcomers coming up, and especially coaching those to do that?
Yeah. You can ask them how their day is going, but sometimes that opens up a lot, you know. So maybe towards the end of the transaction, you can wish them a good day. You kind of have to kind of cut that conversation off sometimes, because if you don't, some people will just hang around.
There's a whole bunch of people that need engagement nowadays, aren't there? Huh? Huh. Interesting. So I'm going to switch pretty hard here, Don. One of the things, I work with a lot of managers and I see firm, I see super friendly. When I'm watching you, you seem to be that calm, steady type. Like nothing's gonna, I can't imagine you ever getting flummoxed in a store, right? You're just, I got this is kind of what I get. So sometimes those people are the ones that the ducks they're paddling the hardest underneath. What's the key to this calmness that's so critical in a convenience store?
I don't know. I think it's part of it's my personality. Also my age. I've had a few birthdays. I don't let things bother me the way they used to. And if I can help the customers and the employees, it's rewarding. Just to help them through their day too.
Is that the real joy for convenience?
To
Helping.
me, it is. To me, it is. I mean, it's a personal joy to see those customers happy and they get what they want and they can be on their way to their job or wherever they're headed to and they feel better about their day after they've left here. That's our goal.
Yeah, I've worked in a lot of different industries, and my kids, and when we're traveling the convenience store, it's a big deal, right? But it is that quick thing, but it's pretty impactful. I mean, I know all the people down at my Delula's down the corner there, and I feel like we're friends. But you're exactly right. We're always in and out quickly, but they know somehow we've become friends in that 30-second to 1 minute transaction time. Huh. I haven't thought about that before. Thank you for um, so specifically back to coaching. Now, you got to be quick with the customers. How do you keep your cashiers? Because you have a range of age and experience for your team in your store, right? Two-part
We
question.
do.
Sorry.
That's okay. We do. My youngest cashier is actually 21 years old,
Okay.
and I believe my oldest one is 61 years old. So we do have a range. They all have their strengths, maybe and weaknesses, I guess we'll say. But so we have to work with them at their level. I think if we meet them at their level, whatever that is, um, their interests and how they view things, then we can coach them along. If they're outgoing, we can work with that, but sometimes we gotta maybe say, hey, we gotta tone it down a little or something too.
Robin, one of the consultants I've used the most, helping me, coaching me in my business, he says that, Tom, you meet your staff where they are. They don't come to you. You go to them. Yeah. So I love that. One more question, Don. I really appreciate it. Then the last one isn't a question. I'll just throw it open to whatever tips you would give to the young manager. But before we get to the open-ended one of the things I'm impressed with Jeff and Harry and Nikki at Mainstop that they do is they focus on the bonus program not being simply on sales or cleanliness or something like that, but profitability. I find that very, very respectful. Do you see any challenges or benefits? What do you think about the profitability incentive basis for your compensation?
I like it. I've worked with programs like that in the past, and I think this is a very fair program. I think it helps me be responsible for the whole store, the bottom line profit. It's not, I mean, the big key is the people here, the customers and the employees. But yet I have to watch expenses too. We don't want to, waste stuff or, things like that. So to me, I think it's fantastic. It just keeps it's being like part ownership of it. You're really involved. It's your store.
That's what I was thinking. Like that's like the best kind of ownership. You don't have all of the risk, but you've got this benefit, and it's to me, it's like quite a sign of respect, isn't it? Yeah. So the last question, and pick or choose or do both. I don't, we've got people that, like you said, you've got a few years. I've just clipped that big milestone, and I'm really enjoying. Now I'm choosing to do the work that I enjoy the most. So for those of us that have to past the, the typical retirement age. That's one side. And then for the younger people coming up, it's such an amazing growth potential. What advice would you give to either side or both about stepping into leadership in the convenience industry?
I just think if you're interested, if it's something that interests you, talk to your manager, your supervisor, your district person. Maybe talk to somebody that's in that management role already, and they'll give you some ideas, maybe some do's and don'ts or
Mm.
perspective on it. Um, I've been blessed with fantastic leadership in this company, and
Mm.
that's I say I'm an old dog, but I learn new tricks, and so I had to be willing to change a little bit, and it's all been good.
So let me see if I can summarize what I heard you say. Um, make if you enjoy helping people have a good day, that's a good qualifier. If you're willing to ask for the opportunity to grow, and if you're willing to, what was the last thing you're talking about? Willing to just take advice or
Yeah, you
willing
might
to
have to be willing to change,
willing to
yeah, learn
change.
some new things.
All
Mhm.
right. Awesome. All right. That